Alright, so we're back at the shop. It's been a few days. Had to do some other things in here before I could make room to get Nelson in here. And yeah, we're just looking at under the hood. I had a friend come over and help me take the hood off so we can get a better look and I can start dismantling this. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to save and reuse on the project. The battery has some issues. It doesn't like to hold a charge very long. It's not showing that it's that old, but it just I'll replace that. Of course, we'll get rid of the old ECM. When I first got this, I did replace the blower motor just to try to see if the AC system and the heat system would work. There's a couple issues with that, and I suspect that some of the shifting inside is maybe vacuum controlled, and on further inspection I found deteriorated lines that were broken, and yeah, just this stuff is just so old it just pulls apart. Probably have to replace all that, track that down. Hopefully a service manual will show where all those lines route. But yeah, this is a 1998 Blazer. Was for the Canadian market, and even has the factory engine block heater where you can plug it in and keep the engine warm at night. There is a lot of corrosion on all the aluminum items, alternator case, the AC compressor, the expansion unit for the AC, the ECM. Anything that was aluminum has a lot of corrosion on it. Of course, the battery tray is pretty well rusted. It's not rusted out, it's just a lot of surface rust. I'll replace that. Probably going to reuse the factory fuse block here. Been going back and forth on the fence whether or not to keep the anti-lock brake system or delete that. My feeling is to try to keep that. I'll try to polish this up a little bit, get it cleaned up. The cruise control unit is here. It's a cable operated. I don't know whether or not I'm going to retain that, but I'll clean it up and see what happens. This does have a vacuum brake booster, and I am going to do the switch over to the Hydro Boost system with this. You could actually get the Hydro Boost as an option on some of these vehicles, so I can readily get a made-to-fit Hydro Boost unit. So that's going to be a saver there. Windshield wiper motor. Once I have all this apart, it's a good time to just change that out. Of course, new arms are available, all that stuff. The heater, the AC box, it has this fiberglass or plastic casing, but it also has a secondary casing that's made out of a rubber that now has gotten hard, and it just breaks off into pieces. There's a lot of pieces laying around. So I went down to my local pull-apart junkyard and was able to find a newer unit off of a 2002 model that was in pristine condition. So went ahead and pulled that, so we've got one of those. I do know that with the LS motor install, there might have to be a modification done to the casing on these down in this corner to allow for the coil packs to be mounted and not hit that, which is also another reason to go to the Hydro Boost, because it eliminates this huge diameter vacuum booster, which would interfere with some coil packs. So we're just going to replace that, get that out of the way, open this up a bit. You know, when you start any kind of project like this, you always want to think about, you know, there's so many parts and pieces here. How do you keep track of it? Well, I'll use I'll bag things and tag them and take lots of pictures, just to keep track of things. You know, Ziploc bags with Sharpies to keep your bolts and fasteners and small parts are great. Plastic containers that stack up and take little room, they're great also. And of course, you know, just lots of photos. One of the hardest things to get to on these vehicles are the heater core, which is inside the cab. And since we're going this far with it, I'm going to go ahead and pull the dash out and change that. It's good time to do that. I don't want to have an issue with that later on after I get everything finished. That would be terrible. So we're going to change that, and yeah, just go through everything. The accessory mount kit that I'm doing on the new engine going in is going to move the AC compressor over to the other side of the engine. I never did like these long hoses that draped all the way over. They're just unsightly and unnecessary. The new radiator that I'm going to order is from Superior Radiator. They actually make a unit that puts the radiator back inside of the core support without having to modify it. You don't have to cut it up. It just fits in there. It's made for it. And they sell models that are strictly for LS engines, and also like a small block Chevy Generation 1, depending on where you want your inlet and outlet on the radiator. They have a fill cap that is added to it that comes out and up, and I'll try to get you a photo of one of those when I get that in, or I'll like to take a picture, and we'll talk about that. I am going to go to electric fan, probably the pusher type fans in front of everything to allow me some more clearance. Of course, the new system, you know, won't have this flex clutch fan, but we are going to be, you know, 4 or 5 inches further with the engine, with the new engine. And I want to try to clean this compartment up, eliminate a lot of things. You know, typical. There's some really nice examples of what people have done with S10s and Blazers. This swap is definitely doable. I'm looking now for a solution on the MAF sensor. Probably go, you know, where the MAF is integrated in with the air intake sensor. There's a 5-wire unit that you can get. So I'm researching that to help clean it up. And depending on a new harness that I either make up or get, I can modify the harness that I got with the LS1 engine and make that work. Don't know how much of everything we'll be able to save here, but yeah, we're gonna get into it. Of course, you know, part of this car mod culture, we have to be careful not to harm the environment while doing it, or we're gonna shoot ourselves in the foot by legislatures that are gonna just, you know, clamp down on what you can do because they're you know, concerned about pollution and stuff, and we are too. We don't want to do damage to the environment. We want to control everything. So one of the first things I did, I made an appointment to go to a local repair shop that works on vehicles, and they have an AC, you know, system charger or whatever. And I just had him hook up to this. I was going to get the Freon evacuated out. Didn't cost that much to do, but when we got there, he hooked up to it and it had already leaked all out. So there was nothing in the system. But I was going to go ahead and do that, and then of course draining all the fluids out and disposing of that properly, either at a recycle center or a collection center. I'll definitely do all that. A lot of the metal parts, I have a friend that he makes money just collecting metal, and he'll take that to the recyclers, get a little bit of money, helps me out because I don't have to take the time to do that. And the plastic stuff will go to a recycler as well, collect that. Just whatever can be recycled or disposed of properly. You know, I don't want to just throw it away. I want to do it, you know, the right way. Get rid of that. Yeah, so that's about it on this. We're going to get started, and it's the day to commit. And first thing I need to do is, you know, I'll take some time, get all the fluids drained out, and then we'll start the dismantling process. You know, headlights are pretty easy to come out in these units. There's a little clip here that you basically pull up, a couple of those, and the headlights then just come right out. So they just pop right out. So those are still good. I may reuse them. I may order new ones. I will be changing the headlights on this, putting the halo lights in, a whole new grille, new bumper system, a new valance. You know, try to sport it up a little bit on the looks. And yeah, so yeah, just getting ready to get going here and make the commitment to get started, because once I start on this, it's probably not going to leave here until it's done. And you know, it's going to take up space in the shop, and it's going to take up the space around my lift. And I do have a Max Jack lift bolted to the floor here. That's been a real time saver for me, doing my own rotations and oil changes and just minor service to my other vehicle. Definitely worth the money if you've got the space. And the nice thing about these is it is portable, so you can unbolt it to the floor and roll it out of the way when you're not using it to gain space. But since I put it in, I use it all the time, and it's great for getting up under things and doing some of your own work. So so yeah, I want to talk a little bit about you know, some of the things I found. Hopefully I can throw a picture up here and show you. Right after I first got this, I got it home here, and to get it started, I actually changed the starter because the main battery cable lug on the starter had broken off, and that's why they couldn't get it started. To get it out of there, I had to tow it home. Got a picture here with it on the trailer that I rented from U-Haul and hauled it back from the coast a few hundred miles. And started digging into it, and the remote key fob did not work on this, and I was exploring why, and when I pulled the bottom part of the dash out to just trace some of the wiring out, I found a horrendous glob of wires that totally somebody had tried to install a remote start system and just botched it up. I'm sure it worked at first, probably for the first little bit, but the way they installed it, definitely not the right way to do it. I know that you know, the person I got this from did not do that. They did not have that done. It was done prior to that. And so yeah, it was. I had to take that out. Unfortunately, what was the permanent damage was the wiring harness that goes up into the steering column and for the turn signal switch and all that. And so that'll be replaced. I did notice that at some point in this life here, hi kitty. There's Stormy, the shop kitty. Yeah, sometime along the way here, don't know when, you know, these things were notorious. They've got the internal spider fuel injection system that after a few years starts leaking. The poppets don't seal, so it looks like someone has gone ahead and replaced that. That looks pretty new there. And also the map sensor had been replaced. That's definitely too clean for this vehicle being 22 years old and having 211,000 miles on it. So that's pretty cool. The engine actually runs good. Probably needs a little tune-up, and so I've got some plans for this to reuse this actually, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, I don't want to damage anything on the way out, so we will get going here. I appreciate you watching, and I do want to talk about the budget on this, what I want to do. You know, we're definitely going to try to do a good job with this, very thorough. I want this to be a really, really good driver with some modern conveniences. So, you know, a full interior redo. I do have a set of high back buckets with the fixed headrest. I like those better. I'm going to put those in it, but I'm also getting a reupholstery kit, not just covers, but an entire reupholstery kit. We're going to go two-tone leather and front and back seats. Total, it's about $1,200 for the kit, and that's going to be one of the things that's going to dress the interior up. We are going to replace the carpet. The carpet's not really bad, but my thought is when I do the leather and the carpet, the thing will almost smell like the new car smell. So it should look pretty good, comfortable, and pretty much new. I tend to have this vehicle for a long time, and you know, hopefully it'll be worthy of maybe taking to some small shows and just being part of the car culture. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be an on-road good driver. Trying to go for what GM should have done, in my opinion, and others, if they had made an SS version of these vehicles with a V8. Nothing really outlandish on horsepower. I'm just putting, you know, going from the 4.3 V6 to a 5.3 V8, and probably doubling the horsepower. Nothing more than that. I don't want to have problems with breakage in the transmission, breakage in the rear end. Maybe later I'll put a stronger rear end in it. The transmission I am going to rebuild and upgrade the components that are seem to be a problem. You know, put the Corvette servo in it so it gets a little firmer shifts. Sonax makes a reaction shell that takes care of the breakage that those normally see from the factory. The 3 to 4 clutch system is they fail a lot, and so we're going to replace that with a Z-Pack. and just a few other little things in there. I'll give you some info on where to find that information. Plenty of YouTube videos out there with some transmission rebuild shops that really get into it and have some really great information. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we will see you after I start dismantling this. We'll get the fenders off, the front end off, get everything stripped out of here in preparation to go ahead and lift the body up off of the frame, and then get the frame out. That's the next step. Hopefully it'll be warm enough outside to go ahead and blast that with a high pressure washer. And haven't decided yet whether I'm just gonna clean it and paint it with some rust paint or whatever, anti-rust, or send it out to we got a couple of shops locally that do powder coating on chassis, and if I can work it into the budget, I'll probably do that. But I'm not trying to build a SEMA quality vehicle here. I just want it good and clean, simple, but very durable and very dependable. So that's what we're trying to do, and throw a little fun in with it. So stay tuned, and we will get on the disassembly. Have a great day.